Hey everyone, today I want to walk you through some simple tricks and export settings that will keep your vertical clips looking truly sharp, not like a smeared soup after platform compression. We'll cover quick A/B tests so you can instantly see the difference and learn a smoother workflow using Vizard to stop doing all this manual work every single time. Alright, let's jump right into DaVinci Resolve to see these settings in action. I have a native 4K clip here, originally shot for my main horizontal channel. The plan is to make two different vertical exports that we would typically upload as shorts, TikToks, or Reels. You need to know that platforms like YouTube can be really brutal when it comes to compression on these short-form videos. Often the colors look muted, fine details vanish, and even skin texture can appear completely flat after they process the file. So while we export these vertical files, I'm going to tweak a couple of key things specifically to fight against that softening effect. First, inside project settings, I immediately switch my timeline resolution to a vertical HD format. You'll set it precisely to 1080 by 1920, or just choose a ready-made vertical HD preset from the list. This action automatically crops that wide 4K clip down for the tall screen format you need. Crucially, you must reframe and center your subject so the composition still reads well in that vertical space. Don't just rely on the application's automatic crop, because it often misses the best part of the shot. Now let's look at YouTube's published advice for shorts, which is pretty simple on paper. They recommend an MP4 container using the H.264 codec and suggest limiting the bitrate to around 8,000 kilobits per second. That will technically work and upload successfully, so we'll export one version using those exact baseline specs. I'll name this file simply MP4 H.264 8 Mbps and then queue it up for rendering immediately. However, in my own experience, following that advice verbatim often results in footage that looks washed out and quite mushy once it hits YouTube. So for the second superior export, I always make a couple of key adjustments inside my editing software. First, I introduce a very subtle sharpening step right within Resolve's color page workspace. At the timeline node level, you can add a touch of crispness by manipulating the blur controls, so specifically by reducing the radius slider. It seems counterintuitive, but reducing the blur effectively adds that needed extra pop to the image details. I nudge this setting until details like facial hair, individual hair strands, and fabric weaves really begin to pop out. It might look slightly over-sharpened on your current monitor, and that is totally fine because the platforms will soften it down later anyway. The key here is just to push it until texture is clearly readable without making the image look crunchy or unnatural. Next up are the export settings, where I've found QuickTime containers with H.265 actually hold up much better post-recompression. For this second file, I choose QuickTime, select the H.265 codec, and set the quality restriction higher, usually around 12,000 kilobits per second. If available, always choose the main 10 or 10-bit profile, as it significantly helps color graduation survive the trip. That extra bit depth and the efficiency of HEVC give the platforms more usable data to work with during their final transcodes. I name this superior file QuickTime H.265 12 Mbps main 10 and send it off to render. So now we have two clips, the baseline H.264 MP4 and my enhanced H.265 QuickTime file ready for testing. I upload both to a private test channel and then immediately capture a screen recording on my actual phone to compare the viewing experience. Back in the editor, I line up those two exported clips perfectly side by side on the timeline for a direct comparison. On the left is the H.265 version, and on the right is the standard MP4 H.264 export that YouTube recommended. Even just looking at the editor monitor, the H.264 clip on the right already appears noticeably softer and slightly washed out. Let's zoom right into the facial details, the beard, the stray hairs, and those tiny reflections inside the eyes. The H.265 side does a fantastic job of preserving all that texture, while the MP4 side looks significantly flatter and lacks depth. Notice that small green reflection on my cheek. It's almost completely gone in the H.264 export, but still clearly visible in the H.265 version. Look at the fabric structure on my shirt pocket. That weave is totally preserved in the H.265 clip, but the H.264 just turns it into a soft, undifferentiated patch. Finally, I compare both exports against the original untouched 4K file to get the full context. The original is naturally the cleanest, but that H.265 export holds up surprisingly close to the master file after all that platform processing. Practically speaking, if you want mobile viewers to see your high-quality source and not a smeared mess, H.265 plus a tiny pre-sharpen wins every time. Just a couple of quick notes. H.265 rendering can take longer, and some very old devices might struggle to play it natively. However, for uploads to major platforms today, that rendering trade-off is almost always worth the quality benefit you receive. Keep your file sizes sensible. This 12,000 kbps cap is a great sweet spot between excellent quality and reasonable upload times. If your software doesn't offer 10-bit, sticking with main 8-bit is still better, provided you can nudge that bitrate up a bit more. Now let's talk about the workflow catch. Manually repeating reframing, color tweaks, separate exports, and uploads for every single short adds up very fast. That is precisely where a tool like Vizard comes in handy, which is why I've started using it to seriously streamline this whole process. Let me be clear, I'm not suggesting every creator needs to rely on an AI assistant for their edits. But if you want to spend way more time actually creating content and less time wrestling with formats and posting schedules, Vizard definitely makes sense. Here is how I integrate it into the exact process we just covered for maximum efficiency. I simply import my entire long-form recording directly into the Vizard application interface. Its auto-edit feature then intelligently scans all the footage to find the absolute punchiest, most engaging moments automatically. It then spits out ready-to-post vertical clips that you can quickly review, tweak, or approve right there in the interface. This single step saves a massive amount of time compared to scrubbing through an hour of footage manually looking for those gems. Then, instead of manually setting up 3 different exports, Vizard can apply your preferred export presets automatically. You can literally pre-configure it to output that ideal H.265 vertical file with the exact sharpening LUT baked in before rendering. Even better is the auto-schedule feature where you define your posting frequency and target platforms, and it handles the rest. No more staying up late just to manually upload clips at peak engagement times for your audience. The content calendar gives you a fantastic at-a-glance overview of everything scheduled across all your channels in one place. You can easily edit, rearrange, or pause any post directly from that central control panel without opening your main editing software. When comparing this to other solutions, many only solve one part of the puzzle, like just trimming clips or just scheduling posts. Other tools might schedule, but give you zero control over the critical underlying export technical settings we just optimized. While manual workflows are super flexible, they inherently demand way too much of your valuable time as a creator. Competitor AI editors sometimes make genuinely weird edit choices or chop clips in a way that feels totally robotic and impersonal. Vizard hits that perfect sweet spot for creators who demand both high creative quality control and robust workflow automation. It automates the tedious, repetitive background tasks while ensuring you remain in complete command of the final creative decisions. A few important caveats. Vizard won't replace the need to understand fundamental export best practices yourselves. You still need to grasp framing, understand compression effects, and know when it's wise to increase that bitrate. But what it absolutely demolishes is the grunt work, like batch creating verticals and managing the constant posting schedule. This consistency in posting keeps your channel presence strong without you having to babysit the upload queue all day long. So in short, for quality, try that vertical H.265 QuickTime file with a slightly higher bitrate than the minimum recommendation. And for your workflow, leverage Vizard to auto-select clips and schedule everything so you build presence instead of burning time on uploads. Give these export settings a try next time you render a short and see if the H.265 version survives platform compression better for your content. If you experiment, please comment below telling me which device you watched on and which platform you used for the test. I'm genuinely curious how consistent these results are across different types of mobile phones out there in the wild. Thanks so much for watching this detailed breakdown of how to keep your vertical videos looking their absolute best. If you found these tips helpful at all, please remember to hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dives, and drop a comment with your personal favorite settings. I read every single comment you leave, so share your weirdest compression results or best settings. I'll catch you all in the next video. Goodbye for now.